Hello everyone. As you all know that CUET UG 2025 forms are out, and it was important for everybody to check what are the changes and special requirements for CUET UG in this year. CUET UG is a very recent exam, and hence there are changes happening every year, and students will have to take care of these changes before they fill out the form. In this video, I am going to talk about 4 major points that students have to keep in mind before and after filling the CUET form. Let's take them one by one. The first change that has come is the maximum number of papers that are allowed. You are all aware that CUET UG has multiple papers from the language section, from the domain section. Now, there's always been a limit to maximum number of papers that one can appear in. This year, that limit has been changed. We'll see what is the new limit and what are the implications of this for every student. Then there is certain change in a major change in the application form. We'll see that. This year, CUET will be conducted only in CBT mode. Unlike last year, when certain papers were conducted in physical paper OMR mode. Right now, this change means a few things for students when they prepare for their tests. We'll see that today. And of course, the paper pattern, there are some minute changes in the paper pattern for this year. We'll also have a look at it. Right? Let's begin. Point number 1. Now, the maximum number of papers allowed has been reduced to 5. Last year it was 6. Apparently this looks like a small change, 6 becomes 5, but it actually means a big change, because in terms of the number of domain papers that a student can select now, the choice is reducing. I've drawn a small table, and that table should help us understand what I want to say now. I need everybody's careful attention on this table. CUET UG is a gateway to more than 300 universities of the country, all the central universities, many private universities, deemed universities, and of course the state universities. And each university, for a specific course, they might and they actually have given specific criteria as to which all papers they need the scores of for creating their individual merit list. What I have done in this table is I have taken DU, because in CUET, at the top of the ambition is DU. I have taken some private universities, because these private universities would often figure in plan B of students. And one particular state university, which is the DAVV, Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya of Indore, because this is one of the oldest associate of CUET admission process, and especially in central India, one of the very sought after state universities. Now this map, I cannot include all the 300 universities, but this limited inclusion will make us think as to how to choose the 5 papers that are allowed. Now take a look at this. What this table, how it is designed is, let's say for DU BCom honors, if you want to apply, so there are 2 possible streams that you can take. The first one says English compulsory, accounts compulsory, and out of the other domain subjects, any 2. Alternatively, they say that you make English compulsory, math or applied math compulsory, and then out of the remaining domain subjects, any 2. Similarly, for DU BCom, DU BA Economics Honors, DU BA Business Economics, DU BBA, DU BMS, what are the requirement of the subject papers is mentioned here in this table, right? This table gives us a lot of clarity. If you notice, look at the columns. English is required almost everywhere. So one paper that gets sort of fixed is English. Now I say English, it could be any other language. So in the language, the section 1, which is about languages, but all the students that I come across, majority of the students that I have seen, right, their choice is English. So I mention here English. One clarification, my dear friends. In this video, I'm concentrating more on courses which appear in choices of commerce students. Somebody who would want to pursue courses, undergrad programs related to commerce and economics. If you look at the second column, which is general test, apart from few courses in DU, including, however, in some courses of DU, it is required, but apart from these 3-4 rows, almost everywhere, general test is also required. So, if any student who wants to keep the choice wider across DU, state universities and private universities, the second choice of subject becomes very clear. It has to be general test. Now look at the domain subjects. Among the domain subjects, specifically if you look at math or applied math, there are certain number of courses which have mandated requirement of score from the maths paper or applied math paper. Sort of becoming compulsory now. And then for a typical commerce student, the 3 other domain subjects are BS, Eco and Accounts, Business Studies, Economics and Accountancy. Look at this mapping here. If you look at this row, including math, 3 subjects, you fulfill the requirement. Including math, any other two, so 3 subjects in all, you fulfill the requirement. This row, math is not required, but any one domain will do. So after choosing English and general test, you need to just take one of the domain subjects. If you go like this, and I would move a little sideways, you can make a screenshot of this. Done? Okay. Look at this. My advice is somebody with math has an optional subject chosen in class 12th. For them, 3 subjects are now final: English, GT and math or applied math. And you're left with 2 domain subjects, which could be any two out of BS, Eco or Accounts. Now, which one to take out of these? Now, here comes a small twist. If you look at Bennett University or GD Goenka University, specifically they have asked for business studies as a subject that they will look at. So my advice becomes English, general test, math or applied math, BS and 1 out of Eco and Accounts. But if you look at accountancy as a compulsory option, then maybe Accounts and BS become the 2 domain subjects that you choose. In case you're not thinking of applying to these places, then you could choose any 2 out of Accounts, BS and Eco. So you could go for Accounts and Eco, or you could go for Accounts and BS. Take a look closely, my dear friends. This year you are allowed to appear for maximum 5 papers only. The second important aspect of CUET 2025 is the major change in application form. Incidentally, this year when they came out with the form, unlike the last 3 years, there was no section in the form to choose the university or courses. That means through CUET, if you wanted to apply to some X number of courses in Y number of universities, you had to declare it upfront in the form itself. That was the process till last year. This year, they have done away with it. So now CUET is just about exam, papers appear in exam, get a scorecard, but most important, apply to each and every target university separately. So while this change reduces your load during the form filling, it does not remove your load of planning your universities and courses right now, because two major aspects to be taken care of. Your target university and courses will help you determine the 5 papers that you have to write, the one we saw previously. And your target universities and courses will require you to start monitoring the websites of these universities and courses for application process. Let me remind you, you will have to apply to each university of your choice separately. Applying to CUET for exam for the test is one, and applying to number of universities that you want to take admission in is a separate, different process. And you will have to keep checking the websites of all these universities and apply whenever the forms or the process begin. The third important change is only CBT mode papers. Last year, certain number of papers were conducted in physical format, right, where you were given a paper test and you had to mark your answers in the OMR. This year they are shifting back to every paper in CBT mode. That means you will be allotted specific computer exam centers. You will have to go there and appear in the exam in front of a screen. This is what is CBT. What it means for you, you will have to practice when you prepare for CUET. You will have to practice mocks and make sure that you practice mocks only in the CBT mode, because that will make you accustomed to the screen layout, the clicks, the forward movement, the backward movement, and that you will not want to waste any time searching there as to what function, what button has what function. You should get used to, accustomed to managing exams on a screen. Last one is about the paper pattern. A small change here is that last year there were certain papers where they had choices. That means you had to appear in 50 questions, but there were more questions available, so you had choice of leaving certain questions. And specifically in general test, the number of questions was different. This year, further standardization has been done. All the papers this year will be in one specific format with absolutely no choice. So you will have 50 MCQs to be attempted in 60 minutes, no choice. And this is the marking scheme: +5 for a right answer, -1 for a wrong answer, and no marks, 0 marks if you do not attempt the answer, the question, right? So this one, now what does this mean for you? It means that please do not make the previous year paper as the basis for your strategy of this year. Make your testing strategy as per the standard pattern disclosed this year. I hope there was some useful information for you. Stay connected, stay tuned in. We'll have more videos on this channel for CUET.